Yeah.
So all eyes onto Ever8 and see if they can pick up a 2-0 that may be worth its weight in gold. Even just 2-game score would be so helpful for this lineup.
We'll see what they do now we're in Champion Select with a little bit more ban flexibility. It will be the Kog'Maw first up, as Caitlyn is going to go, as the trade of 80 carries does come in, but we'll give away a little bit. We saw side of the ROX Tigers go for pretty standard bans with, it was Kog'Maw that was still there, but Elise and Galio were the follow-ups, which we often see on the red side as well.
On the Tigers, though, do they just have to ban what has been the 3 today? Every red side team has banned Caitlyn, Kalista, and Zach on red side. The first 2 are the ones that have been the staples for the longest time this season. There's a chance the third one isn't Kalista, but Dior had a good game, was an MVP in Game 1, but had an impressive performance, and he has played Kalista to success already this season. It's 1 and 2, but they haven't picked up much game wins, so you take the wins you can get.
Yeah, basically anything that has a percentage above 0 is pretty good stuff for Ever8 winners.
Sounds backhanded, but that was only their 8th game win of the season. They're 8 and 22, which you don't need to know math very good to know that's not the best.
Yeah, I don't know math very good, but that is definitely sounding good, Pub City. As far as accuracy, doesn't sound good as far as Ever8 is concerned, or my English speaking ability. As there goes the Elise. And this means that the Kalista is well and truly available, and that is being, at least considered for the moment, but should be locked away here by Ever8.
I don't really know what they would take over it, and it's just so powerful in empowering the meta initiation supports that will be expected to be the first pick. I imagine a Rakan answer will come from the ROX Tigers because Key has looked really good on Rakan.
Yeah.
You don't really want to give Kalista Rakan away, but you could say the same thing about Kalista Alistar, so maybe the Rakan takeaway picks are of lower priorities given you have so many options. And Sejuani is up, so they're basically saying, let's go back to what has been a effective counter pick to the Kalista in recent games. Not 100% win rate by any means, but the ability of a Sejuani, if she can free farm, to sit on Kalista and deny her from the Ren set she's capable of, has been a pretty good strategic option against the Kalista.
Yeah. Does leave the Kalista-Rakan combination available if Ever8 do want to take that one away. Jarvan is going to be stolen from Shy, but the Jax was still up as well. They're just making sure that they lock down a potential top laner or flex pick into the jungle there as well for Malrung. He's played crazier things,
He's played in the jungle already once this season, not to success, but like you say, is a real counter pick choice, and you would almost say that it's likely Malrung will be going the Jarvan in the jungle just because Sejuani's not a matchup you're worried about being invaded on, and Keen plays pretty much only counter picks, so I think they're really fishing for, say, a Renekton on the red side here, and then counter picking it seems to be the way we'd expect Keen to go. Always the chance it is going to be the Jarvan, but my impression of specifically Keen is that he wants laning advantages wherever he can get them.
And Songyun has actually played a lot of Xayah so far this season as well. He's done a lot of damage, but has only won about a third of his games on the pick. Hasn't been something that the ROX Tigers have been able to make work as effectively as things like the Kalista. But they banned away the Aurelion Soul, and that is certainly a good move away from Scepted. Some good stories as far as what ROX Tigers have adapted moving into this draft.
If he's forced to blind pick, it seems like the obvious blind pick will be Orianna, because you already have Fate's Call, Rakan, and the Jarvan for initiation. It is one of the most played from Scepted as well, and you can see that ROX Tigers aren't going to buy the bait. They are going to ban away the Jax just in case. Leaving their options open. Malrung, having played one game already on stage of the Jarvan, makes this a bit more of a on-the-ball read.
Makes a bit of sense, but it's still a flex. Ever8 can decide to switch that up towards the top side if they feel like the matchup will be worthwhile. Renekton going to be taken away, and you mentioned the fact that the Tigers might be looking towards that. So Ever8 also having that idea at the same time. But Shy, plenty of champions in that champion pool, so should be fine as far as finding something to play.
I mean, this season he's won on Jarvan twice, that's taken away. Renekton is banned. His only other win was on Gnar, and you'll remember that that was not a good performance from Shy.
Oh yeah, that wasn't his win. I'd probably give that to most of the rest of his team.
It's actually hard to evaluate whether the last game or that game was worse from Shy.
Oy.
He's had some lowlights, unfortunately, and we'd love to talk about him in reverent terms. It is his birthday, and he is a legend, but has struggled on the Rift a couple of times this season. Now, Ever8 will be forced to make the blind pick top lane, so show if it is the Jarvan or something else. Some of the crowd, which Italy isn't the most. It's being optimistic. Okay, so just will be a blind pick Camille. So predictably is a carry. They're not going to be running the Jarvan top lane. And I mentioned Orianna has synergy with this comp. It gets even more reliable when the Hextech Ultimatum is another way to initiate.
Yeah, it's also super handy that you then get both the Hextech Ultimatum as well as the Cataclysm, which you don't normally have in tandem due to the fact that the Jarvan's often occupying that top lane position.
You're just really not allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah, just super not allowed to. The sombrero is actually made out of terrain now.
It now feels like the Orianna Shockwave is targeted because at this point, how can you miss them?
But at least the quickness adds the charm, so it's sort of like an anesthetic, so you don't feel as bad when you're just getting torn up by AoE ultimates.
I'm just saying, Sceptid has had some great laning phases piled on gold. Shockwave could be massive in this game. Is waiting for the last pick. It's going to be the Shy special. He's jumping on the Trundle, baby.
Oh, yes. Okay, not necessarily made for these carry matchups, but certainly a Shy special, and can now eat turrets again, which is what we all wanted.
Yeah, the chomp on turret and also the extra regen on his W was the latest buff for Trundle. When Shy came back into the starting lineup of the ROX Tigers after not playing for the majority of 2016, it was on the Trundle. He has always been a Trundle player. And wow, okay, first Trundle of the season in this game.
First Trundle of the season in this game, first Skarner of the season in our last series. It's a day of firsts, Papa Smithy, and I'm very excited to see whether Shy, on his birthday, is going to be able to successfully revive the Jarvan. Sorry, not the Jarvan, the Trundle, like Skarner was successfully revived by Score.
I mean, the ability to chomp away some of the AD and go even in trades that for other champions would be risky. Makes you understand. The use of the pillar will be interesting, given that everyone on Ever8 wants to get in melee range of the enemy apart from Orianna. Shy going on an old pick on his birthday, 26 years young today.
Yeah.
Needs to step up his teleport game, and ROX Tigers need to step up their synergy. They do not want to go down 2-0 to Ever8 winners.
That being said, Ever8, they have set themselves up with a lot of options as far as getting the engages working out. They've got Kalista Rakan, they've got the Orianna J4. It couldn't engage itself if it tried. We'll see what they can do to try and get in on this game. Okay, here we are.
Trundle.
Yay. Policeman on the rift.
At least now we don't need to mince words, Atlas. He's trolling.
I thought you were going to say, well, now he can cancel his teleports with authority.
That's pretty good too. He is a constable after all.
Yeah. Okay, ROX just waiting for Ella to face check. He's not going to throw a Gleaming Quill in there, because there's no point in taking that one level 1.
Always difficult to work out where to path when you're against Braum at level 1, so respect being shown.
Okay. Moves his way out. You're going to be taking Bang's skin as well. You'd think normally that would be a good luck charm, but recently it has been a little bit different.
Late invade coming through from ROX, actually.
Bite is going to fly forward, and Ella does actually decide to take the Q level 1.
And there's a play on word.
Oh no. It's so sad. Although, now, it's feeling a little bit better to be an Ever8 Winners fan. Not going to have as many, being the first time in the LCK with this particular name. Trying to get more.
Game 1 victories certainly at a premium for them. Just 2 in the past 10 matches and no match victories in that time. Maron can do some interesting pathing as a Jarvan. He's level 2. The level 2 gank is always going to be powerful. They know they started on bot side, but here comes Malrang.
Yep, Sceptid looking for it. There's the flash. Good flash from Lava. Gets himself out of the way. But, yeah, okay, that was optimistic, to say the least.
Both mid laners were level 1.
Yeah.
Not even level 2, so that was a super early gank path. We'll just go straight to his blue buff, low mana, but we'll be able to claim that. you're never worried about the counter gank at level 2 at the best of times. Certainly not by a Sejuani.
Well, I actually thought that Malrung was going to move himself around and try and invade the jungle here of Songwan, which is what we've seen J4s do into this matchup as recently as a few days ago.
See, it's not the best choice because it's against the Taliyah, so the Taliyah is going to have the shove on the Orianna.
Yeah.
And she would react first on her side, of course, and just kind of kill the Jarvan, so... Agreed. There was the flash used by Malrung in that initiation as well, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Does mean that his gank pressure is going to be a little bit lower. Here is the all-time win rate of Trundle. You'll see a lot more support Trundle than top lane Trundle, but positive win rates abound.
Yeah.
Gone.
A little bit closer on the top side, yeah.
You will remember that the big reason for support Trundle was that ultimate, of course. Italy to shred tanks in a tank meta. Less tanks now, so less value from the ultimate.
Might actually be starting to come back into favor as well. I mean, I don't remember who it was, but someone was talking about imagining that Trundle will probably make a resurgence given the buff to the Cinderhulk, meaning that things like this Sejuani have come back.
Nice sidesteps from Sceptid, who has been very impressive laning Orianna. He's going in real aggressive.
Yeah, the heal's already being used as there's a flag and drag first blood for Malrung as Ever8 keep the pressure on from game 1. Really nice stuff, and that's the Jarvan and Orianna combination working to full effect. But honestly, mostly just Sceptid being able to avoid the gank that ROX had tried to throw at him.
And also understand how much damage Orianna does at level 4. It's so low a consequence usually, because so often you will see Orianna just farming out lane. But I love the ability to flash in aggressively. Knew he had the right mana. Super good stuff.
Yeah, talking about aggressive, Sangyun's actually taking a lot of damage. Not a lot of sticks in him, as Key was at least able to soak all of those up with the help of the Unbreakable. But Ever8 just having pressure everywhere. You can see even Keen on the top side of the map. He's farming things out. Not necessarily as well as Shy, but has the wave pushed up. Will certainly be able to stop him from getting the teleports off with that hook shot if he is needed to.
When we were building up the hype around Sceptid, we could have a bot lane party, a spotted bot lane party.
Yeah, Ella. We should be able to use that grand entrance to get himself out of the way. Does hop over to this Cloud Drake that wakes up, but otherwise we'll be okay.
But when we were hyped about Sceptid in week 1 and week 2, when Ever8 was looking like they'd actually be more of a middle pack team rather than a struggling team as they ended up being, it was honestly Sceptid's laning as Orianna's ability to look for solo kills on the Orianna that first caught the eye, and then using the Ghost almost Crown-esque to sidestep the seismic shove, trusting on his read on where Lava was likely to place it, and then saving his flash to flash in for a QW. Command attack dissonance play. That was really impressive from Sceptid. It's why, even in the struggles, you feel like there's definitely a lot of talent to salvage from the mid lane of Ever8.
Oh yeah, most certainly. And if you do sleep on them, they are a team that can certainly surprise you as well, which I believe has happened already today. ROX were not expecting quite the fight that Ever8 were offering, and Malrung once again just looking for lava, but Sceptid taking too much damage. In fact, none of them hitting any abilities, and thankfully that means the turret doesn't get mad at them.
Yeah, Lava played that really well. So, I mean, if we're going to get compliment Sceptid, in that scenario was able to problem solve out of what was a bit of a geometry problem when it came to the EQ coming in, and also the command attack from Sceptid.
Songwan protecting his big raptor, but Popcorn Chicken goes over to Malrung quite easily. Lava very close to having his flash back available again, so it was good gank timing from Ever8, like you said. Avoided the ROX Tigers mid laner.
I wonder if that will be a warrior enchant coming through from Malrung over the Cinderhulk that's almost dominated every jungle enchant choice short of, say, Runic Echo on Nidalee and Elise.
Yeah.
It's an option, would make him basically a pick champion and maybe allow some of the other items to come in, but it would be unlikely. Okay, flash missed from Songwan.
Yeah, that's not going to quite find anything at all, as there's a double knockup from Malrung. Big shockwave in there as well, but Sceptid's still going low, gets the command protect, but Songwan's able to pick one up, as there's actually the Rend that grabs the kill onto Lava. Mid lane is traded, but otherwise pretty even here for both of these teams. Still, 1,000 gold lead for Ever8.
Yeah, dual roaming up, but not able to get there is the reason that ROX backed away. Like you say, mid lane is traded. Lava didn't use his flash, though, and Sceptid used the only summon he had available in his Ghost in that exchange. Pretty even stuff around the mid lane. Suits the Orianna more than it does the Taliyah, as Lava really wants to start getting the shove on and roaming with the Weaver's Wall to side lanes.
Yeah, now actually forced to pick up the Mercury's treads there as well. Not a lot of damage coming out of this Taliyah. The Shy's starting to win out this trade on the top side of the map. Does still have the Subjugate available. It's pretty hard going back into the memory banks to remember that particular ability name.
I mean, the reason why he's winning trades is that Keen still hasn't shopped. He's been very greedy about his back timer. No back in 8 minutes. Somehow he still has a corrupting potion charge. He's not really taking a lot of harass in the top lane, it seems.
Yep. Seems to be just putting his leg up in the air and slamming it down on a few minions every now and again.
We've seen players use all their corrupting potion charges before minions spawned, if you remember. Maple,
well,
good old MSI, and without any items, still going to look for a gank.
Yeah, still has the ultimatum, and there it is. Malrong now just throws down the Cataclysm. So many zones that this Trundle cannot get out of, as Malrong is still going to survive the subjugation. Not enough. And that, despite the no shop, is Keen able to help get a kill on the top lane.
Now, Lava's actually looking to clean up the Jarvan, who got super low because of the fact there was no items on Keen. Almost got baited into his death because the damage output, you don't really gauge it on an 8-minute gank that your top laner has literally no items of any description, only regen coming through from the corrupting potion, but not going to be exposed. It's going to be a big first buy here from Keen.
Okay, Sungyun's actually going to walk away from the control ward that was put down. It's going to be Key that goes over, picks that one up. Sungyun in a little bit of trouble here dueling. Does get the Ren set. He picks up some minion damage. Still doing well. 68 to 62 currently.
Ability to turn on the front line will be the big story in this game. Less about the split pushes.
Yeah, cute little knock-up comes in, but they know that there are 4 members down here towards the bottom side. Ella in trouble, wants to battle dance, gets the Fate's Call, wants to find the knock-up as the Weaver's Wall working out here just a little bit. Heal comes in and Sungyun is able to pick up that kill. Key tanking the turret and will survive. Good dive from the ROX Tigers, but what will they give away for it?
And that's the thing, is they're able to brute force it, but you're seeing that Camille will roam down. She has her Sheen available, so they might just get first brick in the mid lane as it took so long to pick up the kill. Great moves from Duel. Not going to quite take it down. Keen tries to overstay for it, though.
Yeah, will be able to hookshot his way out. Avoids the seismic shove nicely there as well. Still has the flash if he wants to, and even cleans out a ward easy as you like. So Scepter continuing to push things up, and now it just needs a few clockwork wind-ups, and that turret will fall down.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It was very difficult to take down a Kalista Rakan, given all the different factors you have to consider when it comes to target selection. Killing the Kalista, the easier of the two options, but bought so much time that it was almost the answering mid lane turret, and one more rotation coming through from the Jarvan could mean that it was to give up first brick. So still commendations to Duel, who with 4 members bot lane bought him about as much time as possible.
Yeah, and able to get a decent buy as well as he goes back. Berserker's Greaves a little bit better for Jewel as Malrong, yeah, very aggressive as Lava used the rest of his mana to try and get the shove. Ella moves himself over, but doesn't actually decide to get all the way in. Second Battle Dance utilized, and Scepted's going to be able to take down the turret. So I actually feel like that was good, distracting the ROX Tigers members. Malrong helps take down the mid lane turret.
And now the heroic play from Duel is a big win for them, Atlas, because usually Taliyah wins the shove and can roam with Weaver's Wall. So much more difficult to do when, of all turrets, the most important turret, mid lane outer turret, is the first to fall. Now minions push in. It's so much harder to unshackle Lava from wave clear duty in the mid lane, and it relieves pressure in the side lane so extensively. This is a big win for Ever8 so early in the game.
Yeah. And if you remember back to the game prior, ROX are actually looking okay moving into the mid to late game. Well, moving into the mid game. And then there were sort of those disasters when it came to teleports, things like that. Now Ever8 in a great position to start things up. Jewel getting aggressive, landing the pierces as well, knowing that his eyes are in.
And now, as you say, likelihood is you're going to have Lava coming in second, or being a lot slower on the trigger finger for the Weaver's Wall, and Trundle teleports. It's not Jarvan this time. It's a lot less reliable with what Trundle can create in a teleport play. Might have to talk about teleport plays in just a moment, as Ever8 will at least looking for a turret dive.
Considering it, but vision was still available there for the ROX Tigers and able to play defensively enough to move themselves out of the way. Sungyun had access to that Featherstorm, as well as Scepted had to move back to mid, clean up this wave. now we'll be able to shove it very far forward. Should be able to buy more time once again, as now Lava wants to find another kill. Hookshot doesn't find a wall or anything like that, as Kane will jump himself in there. Subjugate down now as the Camille trying to get himself out. Throws down the ultimatum, but he'll just die, and Lava is able to pick up that kill. Turret not going to be able to secure it. And now Shy trying to get some damage on this turret.
They're trying to track him in and force him to take extra turret shots, but the effect fades quickly, and like you say, not quite enough damage there. So good roam coming through from ROX and from Lava in particular. Doesn't mean that minions are pushed up, but getting the successful gank is the more important factor. Still no Weaver's wall usage. 13 minutes in.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Only the bot lane one so far this game.
A little bit of a stun towards the bottom side, but you can see actually the gold lead is somewhat increased for Ever8, even though they are able to move themselves over. Massive fight towards the bottom side of the map. Stun comes down, and that's Sangyun picking up yet another kill. Ella should be a follow-up here as he's trying to quickness out. Uses the flash, but immediately flashed after by the Zaya, and that is now 3-0-0 for Sangyun, the big carry for the ROX Tigers.
That's not what we saw in game one. We mentioned that Sangyun and Key should be able to outskill Duel and Ella on the 2v2.
Oh,
speaking of outskilled, we see now multiple lanes with solo kills, but big win for ROX getting their true carry. Sangyun ahead. Scepter does have an air of inevitability of how much damage you can do in team fights, so getting gold on the Orianna's no slouch either. But losing 2v2 in that fashion, losing the turret as well, is a big win for the ROX Tigers.
Yeah, nicely played. Now evening out that gold entirely as well, Papa Smithy. ROX turning it around. You can see Shy with actually a gigantic gold lead towards the top side. But let's have a look at this one again. It was pretty expertly done.
Sangyun just owned up the scenario. Basically, you could see that Duel was relying on Ella to hit the grand entrance on Sangyun to be able to slow down the engage, but he feather stormed over it, still did damage in the area and got the maximum damage onto Duel. He went down, and of course Ella had nowhere to run away to. Very smooth stuff from Sangyun, showing mastery of the champion.
Yeah, really looking good. And you can see Shy actually building a full split push Trundle build as well. Ravenous Hydra going to be coming in. This guy's going to be doing a lot of healing, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, with the W buffs up to 25% as well, he's basically going to be healing up to full every time he auto-attacks down a minion wave.
Yeah. Spirit Visage on top of that, Papa Smithy. Oh, feel the healing. It would be crazy amounts.
Doesn't feel that great to build against only Orianna, but I think he'll probably still go that way given how well it synergizes with his kit.
I hope so.
Gargoyle's Stone Plate, maybe?
Yeah. Both. All of the above. Okay, Marang moving himself down towards the bottom side. Featherstorm still on cooldown for another couple of seconds as the Fate calls.
We're going real hard.
There's the knock-up. Grand Entrance comes down. All of the CC. Shockwave. Marang grabs the kill into Sangyun immediately, and Jewel is gifted the one on the support key. Keen, in trouble on the top side of the map. Throws down the ultimatum as Shy underneath this turret.
Stun.
Really good stun as Shy's getting kited. Happy birthday, you have fallen down as Keen wins the 1v1 under the turret.
How many solo kills are we going to say in a single game? 2v2 kills and bot lane solo kill mid, solo kill top. Keen was going to teleport out, cancels it, and now Lava's wondering what he can make happen.
Yeah, oh, max range. Hookshot gets Keen well and truly out of there, and he should now be able to head back home. Lava going to be doing the same thing on this Talia. And yeah, there's been a lot of hype moments in this game, Papa Smithy. Just things that are surprising, coming out of nowhere, and once again now Ever8 find themselves with a 2,000 gold lead.
It's just a very unique thing in Korea to see multiple solo lanes and 2v2 kills, because usually players have the defensive first mindset of, you know, just trying to pull away, just respect vision, not look for laning advantages. The best players can do both. That's why Faker is such a legend, is that he'll look for the solo kills, but also be able to sidestep all the ganks. But this is a game where caution has been thrown to the wind. So far, fortune has favored the bold. Game 2, it is Ever8 that you would describe as bold, as the item build from Marang is about as bold as possible. He went for the Tracker's Knife into Tiamat into Cinderhulk with Boots of Mobility. He basically wants to initiate as hard as possible. And with the Boots of Mobility, he's just happy to close ground, because even if he doesn't EQ for damage, they've got the Shockwave to try and do the maximum damage in fights.
Okay, they're actually looking for Scepted here, as Malrang just assumes that his mid laner is dead. He's going to head back home, and they'll be none the wiser. It's good heads-up play, understanding that they probably weren't going to win that.
But there must be some killing on the top side, I guess.
Yeah. What goes up must come down. Now Shy's in trouble. Hate's call actually comes in immediately after the quickness, which looks hilarious. But Shy, able to get a lot of that health back, but just takes too many sticks. It's going to be ROX trading it for a dragon as well. So kill for kill. Dragon should be traded for something. Unless Ever8 winners run out of minions, which they are going to do. Wait for that minion wave and should be able to take down the outer turret on the top side of the map whilst losing their entire bottom side jungle.
Pretty greedy from Malrung to enter this jungle. He shouldn't do that.
Yep, sounds like a bad news story. Has to use the flash to get himself out of the way and out of the way of the seismic shove.
Do not enter the side of the jungle where you have no reinforcements or vision, so that was silly. Ends up at his flash, so at least ends up getting out alive. Like you say, the trade does happen, but another trade may be happening soon. Low health outer mid lane turret, but they don't want to dive it. The ults are down for ROX.
Well, Malrung must be feeling pretty good. He's 3-0-2 now. You know, young player. Feeling like he's on a bit of a tear. Probably needs to calm down just a little bit. Sceptred about to hit that 2-item spike, though, so it might be the time where you really want to start getting some things done, especially considering the fact that Keen does have his Trinity Force and the Tiamat, plus some Mercury's Treads there as well.
I wonder if Malrung's going for the Initiator Jarvan build. It might be a Dead Man's Plate for even more speed.
I hope so. That's some serious Nikes. Mobility boots plus the Dead Man's Plate. That's the dream.
Could be a Righteous Glory as well.
Hey, true. Also another speed build.
You know, Righteous Glory is really powerful at the moment. Having it build health and armor as a build path was a pretty big buff, I feel.
Yeah.
Building out a Glacial Shroud is a feel-good moment, because anytime you can build a Glacial Shroud, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Cooldown reduction, also something that everyone just tends to want. And this is a Jarvan that hasn't built by default a Black Cleaver, so having way too much in that case can be a problem.
Looking more like the Dead Man's Plate, but could be Randuin's as well to sit on the Xayah.
Yeah. A few options here. Traffic Cone comes up. Shy is trying to do some controlling. Ooh. Lots of damage, yeah.
But the lifesteal means that he can shrug it off, so it feels like it has to be an all-in trade away from minions for Keen to be able to win.
Okay, ROX have to be a little bit careful. Good wave clear coming out from Ever8, but stepping too far forward may spell their end because Malrung, like you said, engagement, certainly a capability of his. Not a whole lot of vision up here towards this Baron area that has just spawned.
ROX make a transparent play in the side lane. The Rift Herald will be there to try and trade up. Malrung still wearing that buff. Smites away blue, so clearly was worried about Sungwon taking it. There's the Weaver's Wall.
Flag and Drag actually going to be used just to get Malrung over here, and it is going to secure that outer turret in the mid lane. Sceptred had to move himself down. Outer still up, top lane. ROX Tigers to go and collect. This game very, very close.
He doesn't have the vision to be able to push up so aggressively, but he does see the enemy champions in wards, so for now, doesn't feel like it's going to be collapsed on. Very delayed item build coming through from Duel. And for the QSS as a first item after the Blade of the Ruined King, so going to be slow at picking up his Hurricane and looking for the Ren sets.
Well, it's an attempted engage here from Ella as ultimate flashed out of the way of there by Sceptred. Speeds himself up, gets himself out, has the shield, but has to use the flash.
For the Rift Herald to be plopped down, seeing some recalls on wave clear with Talia in the top lane. Maybe now's the time to channel it in mid.
Sceptred's actually moved up here as well, knew exactly where the Talia was, but we'll just pull him away from the creep wave. Clear that one out. Someone moved himself back over. Yeah, you're right. That void touched. A little bit forgotten here by Malrung. There's a glimpse of the void, something like that.
Glimpse of the void.
A bunch of void things going on.
Void Touch definitely will be a spell name at some point in this game.
Yeah, we need that. I'm pretty sure it is already a spell name, just not sure whether I'm talking about the right game, because Glimpse of the Void is certainly it. Okay.
I don't speak other MOBAs.
Well, I never said it was a MOBA.
It's fair. I assumed.
Just feel like the Void is just in everything. Or is it in nothing?
I don't like to think about the Void too much.
Yeah, I know, this is the thing. It gets confusing. I'm having a crisis, Papa Smithy.
An existential crisis?
Yeah, something like that.
Stay casting, I need you.
All right, no, it's okay. I'm just looking at Shy's item build. He's about to build an Iceborne Gauntlet, so I'm just happy. Because you know it feels good to build a Glacial Shroud. He might be able to build 2.
It's true. Even more AoE coming through in that build for the wave clear side of things. All right, the Glimpse of the Void will be used finally, but it's in the bot lane.
Yep. Oh, imagine how much health Shy is going to get back by the King's Tribute.
A lot. Like, really a lot.
Really a heaps a lot.
Well, I mean, not that much because he will lose some health, but
Yeah.
it will come soon. ROX trying to trade in the top side, and predictably Ever8 have allowed that to happen.
This is really unfortunate because Shy's got full health and we don't get to see the number. We could probably calculate it, but I just don't think we can do it right now. Yeah, just looking to try and punish Bristle and Sejuani. They maneuver back towards this Baron area. ROX very spread on the map at the moment. Keen's moving back towards the bottom side. Ever8 or Sangyu.
They're in a pretty surreal scenario where, okay, well, they're just going in super hard.
Yeah, Ella really wanted it. They saw him moving over and he was like, I've already pressed the button, quickly, we're gonna go in. Fortunately, didn't work. Fate's Call's still there from Jewel though, so Ella can try that once again.
You wouldn't think you would need to premature quickness when you have the Fate's Call to guarantee initiations. That was a bit strange.
Yeah. Never mind. Turret eventually falls on the top side of the map, and Malrung is going to take down a Mountain Drake for himself.
Really slowly, though.
Yeah, it's got a lot of health, obviously.
He doesn't really do any damage.
He's burning it down with his Cindy hole.
Burning is perhaps strong. I think he's... I want to say singeing it.
Yeah.
We both thought the same thing.
Yeah, we did. It's because Shy's in the game. I want to be talking about Singed.
Songwon seems to subscribe to the same newsletter as Ambition when it comes to the Sejuani builds. This is the build that does the most damage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm more of a fan of the utility tank. I saw Trick, going for Locket and things like that in EU. That makes more sense to me. But when it comes to sitting on Callista, you have to say it is pretty good build path.
Yeah, I don't mind Knight's Vow as well. I don't know when.
Yep.
He'll probably build it at some point, I guess, as Lava looking for Scepted once again. There's a 2-man
Good
Shockwave,
exhaust.
but he gets knocked back, and there's no mana here. Does his very best to move himself out of the way, but you're right, good exhaust. Didn't actually use the Ghost. I feel like he might have been able to get away, but even the Dissonance movement speed was not enough to avoid the Glacial Fissure at point blank.
I mean, Key played that super well. The exhaust was on point. He predicted the path also with the Glacial Fissure. Great stuff from him, and Ever8 in this weird spot where Scepted is way ahead in terms of items, but Duel delaying his build meant they don't have the 2-item power spike they were looking for. ROX with the pick. They're trying to get the maximum out of it.
Yep, Teleport actually being channeled here by Shy as well. They want to start off a fight. Ever8 know exactly what's going on. Malrung wants to jump himself in
He's 2
there.
levels up as well.
Oh my goodness, but it's going to be ROX peeling this one off. It makes a lot of sense as Key jumps over. They're looking for Keen. He's going to be able to flash his way out, and I'm not sure whether the heal's going to be enough, but my god, he's doing some damage. Lava able to survive through it, and they get the kill on the top laner. No Baron just yet, and they do have one pick. Teleport is up, 40 seconds until Keen will come back.
It seemed that almost his own team, and maybe even Keen himself, was surprised by how much damage he did on the turn. They didn't want to go in for a true 4v5, which is probably the right first instinct. They do delay the Baron. That was the real call there, so at least success on that for Ever8. We'll go back. Here is Scepted. Wants to return to top lane. Has his flash this time, so doesn't have as many worries as he did when he saw the Braum and the Talia in top lane.
Yep, and the obligatory conversation about 2-item spike Callista needs to come in as well. And you mentioned before, already had that QSS from after the Blade of the Ruined King was completed, but now with the Hurricane, will be a time where Ever8 will want a team fight a little bit more, especially if Scepted's still alive.
They're a bit situational, though, because I think a lot of it is about trying for Callista to ignore Sejuani Trundle and relying on the permanent zones of the Hextech Ultimatum and the Cataclysm as the zones of fight. Because if Callista is just free-hitting the Sejuani, we've seen this before, it doesn't do very much. So making the most out of their backline access, which admittedly, with Camille, Orianna, Rakan, and the Jarvan is about as high as possible. They really are great at skipping past front lines. That's the big goal here. Deleting one of Lava and Sangyun means there'll be pretty low damage on the side of ROX. So that's kind of the game plan here to talk about, even though usually the 2-item spike from the Callista is so important.
Well, Jill's actually up here towards the top side. Has Ella now waiting around, but Lava, he's going to move himself away. They're not going to be able to set up this gank brush and do anything of note Able to get a lot of vision down around this Baron area, but that is answered by the ROX Tigers quite nicely. Keen looking for this blue buff, and I don't know what Shy can do.
Cute item build, as you would say, Atlas, going for the Executioner's Calling.
Yeah, I like it. I actually want the full model reminder as well, because Shy doesn't have a lot of health, but he does have a fair bit of armor with that Iceborne Gauntlet. Flash used by Sceptid, gets himself all the way out of the way of everything, and that's so many buttons, and nothing gained. Sceptid's fancy feet are working well today, Papa Smithy.
He's been able to sidestep a lot of initiations that other players may have fallen to. Even with 3 deaths, that was more about his map sense than about his ability to outplay in a 2v2. I think you sit on the Executioner's Calling for a while because you do have the true damage on Q situationally, so armor stacking from ROX hasn't started yet, but you're right, later in the game may be useful. In the short term, being able to cut down that healing is important.
Okay. Or even right now, Shy's actually able to get a decent amount of damage. That's a huge chunk though. As, look at this, the Baron has been started up.
Watch
Remember,
for the teleports.
They've got Jewel, they've got a lot of
Shy
damage to
doesn't
secure
have
this.
teleport, that's why they started it. No TP on Shy.
Yeah, Keen can make his way in. There's the turn now, teleport.
Only
Coming down from Ever8. Decent work done as Jewel untouched in the backline as Key doing some stuff that he can, but I mean, someone's going to get taken down for free. Bristle and Sej just off the board, and now ROX Tigers trying to push things forward.
Ended up being a really sloppy fight from the side of Ever8. They should have won in bigger ways. They could have stayed on the Baron because Shy wasn't going to be able to contest. The Shockwave, which should have been an inevitability, was only on the Braum, who didn't even go down in that particular exchange. They kind of got the minimum. They peel away. They'll be able to try it again with Summoners down on Songyun, but should have been more from the side of Ever8.
Well, now Shy is going to be the one that has the teleport available to him, so Keen opting in for that one. Maybe the turn came a little bit too early. They could have done it a little bit more coordinated, but a little bit unfortunate.
You wouldn't think they needed too much coordination just because of the Hextech Ultimatum and the Cataclysm, but you ended up being proved correct, Atlas. That was sloppy stuff from Ever8. Void stuff pretty early, going for the 3-item power spike here, Sceptid. No death cap to be found just yet.
Yeah. I like the death cap though when it comes to Orianna. Flat AP, just pretty strong with these utility mid laners, but watching Keen now, he's got a Warden's Mail. Building towards that Randuin's Omen, just to see whether he can deal with Shy a little bit more easily with that item. ROX clearing out vision, and Ever8 still waiting around, try and get themselves the engage that they're looking for. This game is very, very close. Someone should be able to take down the Rift Scuttler, so should at least get themselves some vision for the time being.
Something as small as a teleport advantage could snowball into so much more when the game is up for grabs, as it is now. ROX have control in the Baron area and teleport advantage. Now, it's worth noting that the teleport advantage is not a big one. It is not a flank teleporter, it's a Trundle, so it's more about securing Baron than it is about getting kills with the Trundle.
Someone actually going to take a little bit of free damage. Seismic Shove not going to get anyone over the wall as Keen now looking to start a fight here onto Shy. Decent damage coming in as he throws down the Subjugate, but remember there is an Executioner's Calling sitting on Keen. It just doesn't seem to matter though. Keen is still just trying to kite him away. Weaver's Wall comes in, ultimatum's there, and I believe Keen should actually be able to just picks up the solo kill, and they should be able to get the maximum, as you would say, Papa Smithy. There are tons of sticks in this Baron buff. I don't think a smite's going to mean anything as the Rend does come in. There's the 2-man Shockwave, Cataclysm on top of it. So much. The Rend set's now to come in, as it's Sceptid that gets a well-deserved kill, and Keen, he's just not even dead. Oh, never mind about that. 3,000 gold now the lead, and they'll take so much more. This Ever8, where have they been?
Keen just outplayed Shy, almost killed Lava on the back end, all the while Ever8 take down the Baron in assertive fashion, even get the turnaround kill. The whole game was decided in one passage of play, and we just saw it.
Yeah. Well, Keen as well. I mean, we have to remember that this guy's just fresh from solo queue. Young player, my God, just incredible.
Got the Baron buff, he healed up. The Master Stroke of the Executioner's Calling definitely helped him over the course of that, and just the crazy burst damage that Shy didn't respect. But the Baron take at the same time was the macro play to also complement. We're going to see the replay here. We open up, and Shy doesn't get burst instantly like we saw in the previous engagement. And I think that might be because he didn't space out his Qs, because the burst that we saw at the end was so much bigger. There's the second one. Keen's buying time. The Weaver's Wall comes in. This uses his movement speed to get out, and then the burst at the end. Almost thought he was baited by how little damage the second Q did, because by the third rotation, it was certainly killing people. We missed this. It's during the second part of this fight. It was all about the Baron. Yep, one EQ does 2/3 of Lava's health, and he saunters away.
He does. And you saw on the screen just there as well, letting us know that the Baron fell down, and Key fell down, and everybody else on the side of ROX Tigers also fell. Now Malrung going to be taking down the second dragon for Ever8, third of the game. Will be a Cloud Drake, so not anything too important. They're probably looking at this inhibitor turret in the mid lane as their next option. And my god, Pop Smithy, we've got a BF sword. So a Guardian Angel now, the aim for Keen.
We haven't really been able to tell Keen's story. You alluded to some of it. It's another young player. You know, we talked about Jin Air and their 2 rookies last season, and now we have Malrung making his first appearance in the LCK. Player born in the year 2000, famously only 17 this year. 1999 for the side of Keen, so he's only 18 years of age himself, still in high school, finishing off that particular part of his life, but he's been really impressive on the carries. You can see a very mechanically talented player. Speaking to the Ever8 management between games, they're very high on what he can achieve, and little outplays like that will only buoy his confidence.
Yeah, and he's also been playing with the team for quite some time as well, Papa Smithy, so building this synergy, as you can see. And if he wants to be this split push carry, they need to have that communication, which from game number 1, from this game as well, does seem to be there. A lot of these 1-4 compositions that people have been putting together have just flat out not worked, even for the best of teams here in the LCK.
This is something amusing about Shy being outplayed by a player so much younger than him. Like, this is
the
real
young whippersnapper.
I mean, generational shifts. We never really knew what to make of them in League of Legends because you don't know how long a game's lifetime is, right? If it's 2014 and you're like, well, Flame is way better than Shy, that might have been a generational shift, but this is the long tail version of that, where we're seeing a player who had his best career year 4 years ago against a player who was, what, 14 years old 4 years ago, right? So it is kind of cool to see, and Keen has impressed, even if his team hasn't been able to pick up match victories.
And given the fact that it's Shy's 26th birthday today, we're talking about an 18-year-old. That's an 8-year gap. Very, very different. Is now Keen demonstrating that. He's going to get traffic coned out of the way and off the turret. Thank goodness, says Shy.
Ever8 have so many ways to play this. They have a huge split pushing advantage in the 1v1. A level up on Shy, and just a bounty of items. Wants to be building Guardian Angel to go along with, I guess, Mortal Reminder. He may even just sell the Executioner's Calling later and go into something for opponents that aren't Shy. That he's doing so well. Reminder. That's fair, and he might just buy it for a current on the top of the cake, but the icing's already there, so I had to look for more things to put on the cake. Maybe he needs to write his name and like...
Maybe it's like there's not enough cake and too much icing if he picks up the Mortal Reminder. Is that possible. The issue? Yeah.
Is there ever too much icing?
That was going to be my follow-up question. You know, it's like carrot cake. Carrot cake, obviously the best part is the icing, so why don't you just eat the icing?
It's so true, though.
Yeah, it's so true.
Unless
it's like really good carrot cake.
The cake meta in Korea is not great, as you found in your time here.
Yeah.
We do sponge cakes in Korea, and that's about it. That's the best.
Tiramisu. Tiramisu was.
If you go to a Western place, you can get your pecan pies and your other options. But usually, if you're in a Korean coffee shop, it is just the sponge cake. So if you're into sponge cake, have I got a country for you? And like you say, there are tiramisu places, but otherwise the cake meta or the pie meta, not great.
I think everything savory food, especially barbecue, is just incredible.
Sure.
So I think once you've I think about it as allocation of attributes, and I think a lot of places have very similar attributes, and Korea has just allocated a heck of a lot of them
into esports.
Into esports and barbecue.
Which, you know, there's a lot of Venn diagram overlap. I think everyone in Twitch chat would agree.
Yep.
We're into esports and barbecue.
Exactly right. And fried chicken.
Yeah.
Damn.
What a great life we lead.
It's pretty good. Sometimes when you spell it out, it just feels pretty good. Okay, Songyu's at least picked up a bunch of items. He's got 4. But there's the heroic entrance onto Songwon. And Ella actually no response damage whatsoever. Steel was making his way over as well as Sejuani just hasn't necessarily been working, and Malrung is taking whatever he wants. The Command Protect does come in as Malrung successfully steals away the red. We've got a minute left remaining until that Baron does come back available again. And all of the vision belongs to Ever8. And they've now got themselves, almost out of nowhere, an 8,000 gold lead.
And it doesn't feel like ROX Tigers have a ticking time bomb as Trundle used to represent, because it was Trundle versus Maokai. Trundle would laugh at the Maokai's damage, split push inhibitor turrets, split push inhibitors, threaten Nexus turrets. Now we have true damage to talk about. This is such a different class of top laner when we're talking about Camille compared to what Trundle was being picked into the last time Shy was having a staple of his champion pool being this Trundle. And it does feel like Trundle has very few options in this game. Not an impactful teleport player, not that much to shred in terms of armor or magic resist on really anyone. I mean, you look down the items, there's a Randuin's and a little bit of armor on the Guardian Angel. Apart from that, the resists are pretty low. Although Stonepoint's mostly about the health, you'd argue. So, not getting much value out of the ultimate makes you wonder about the Trundle pick. It made you smile because it is a standby of Shy, but it is Shy Day, it is his birthday, he is a legend, but it's not much of a birthday present to go 0-2 against a team you should be comfortably beating.
Well, Ella not as comfortable now as the Glacial Prison does come in, and he's just destroyed.
No Kalista there for the Fate's Call.
Yeah, couldn't actually pull him back out. The Camille is towards the bottom side of the map, so I don't know what ROX actually want to do here. It might actually be a trade if they go towards this Baron, but Shy does make his way back. Keen just so much damage, can just ignore the Trundle.
Still a level lead for Malrang. Let's see if this turn comes. They kind of have to.
Yep, Lava going to move in off the backside, can throw down a wall to make things difficult.
They should kill the control ward.
Yeah.
It's giving him vision.
Okay, he's just going to jump his way forward. That's going to be the easy steal from Malrang. Not quite sure what was going on in the heads of ROX, but Septon is going to be taken down. There's still Jewel, though, doing a bunch of work off the back end, and Malrang may even flash his way.
Picture in picture, we see the solo kill as well.
As the game is possibly getting lost here, as Malrang should be able to stop Key from getting back to base. The Nexus turrets are falling down now, as Keen, in such an incredible series for him, as Jewel sacrifices his life to win the game, as that is the Nexus falling, and Ever8 winners. Beautiful macro play towards the end, secure the 2-0 over ROX Tigers.
And you know it means so much, this team. We already mentioned very young players. It meant so much to Jin Air when they could arrest some of their losing streaks in spring season. We don't know what the future is for Ever8. Almost certain to play in the relegation tournament, but that doesn't mean they're going to be relegated. It means that they are struggling, which is very much true. But in this particular series, they heavily outplayed their opponents, the ROX Tigers, in both games. It wasn't a one-game phenomenon. Game 2, their decision-making as the outplay from Keen was happening to take the first Baron, won them the game. From there, they didn't make any mistakes. They took a second Baron as well. I really don't know why they weren't killing the control ward, and it was a level lead for the Jarvans, so they were likely to lose that Baron. Really well played by Ever8, but ROX Tigers, who worked so hard to get off the bottom, maybe they've kept themselves out of bottom 2 contendership, but they were with an outside chance of making it to the top 5. The outside chance has gone and increasingly looks to be remote at best.
Yeah, a little bit ironic as you saw the little cheerful at the front.
This is
ROX Tigers' desk.
This is what happening in the picture-in-picture. That is a crap load of damage from the true damage.
I think crap load is almost the only way you can describe it as, that true damage proc is silly.
2 of them basically did 80% of his health without any of the auto attacks included. Well, that's what happens. Jewel was a hero also, just flashing over to interrupt the backs, guaranteeing the victory. Means we won't go to a third game, which looked academic, Atlas. I think we all thought, well, Ever8 won. I guess it's going to be a long night. The long night has become a very short one. The nightmare for Shy on his birthday is confirmed as well, and Ever8 winners. Is it a one-off performance? Will they go on to improve from here? Their run-in is going to be difficult, but you can say that on this day, they were significantly better than ROX Tigers.
Yeah, and you could have looked at the games that we had today and said, well, I don't really need to watch because I could just predict exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be KT over MVP, and it will be ROX Tigers taking out Ever8, but definitely not happening. And my God, Keen, his OGN debut, he obviously likes it here at this particular stadium, Papa Smithy, because that's 2 back-to-back great performances.
I mean, we're in Korea. Like, what he did to Shy, given the age hierarchy system, was extremely rude. An 18-year-old bullying a 26-year-old is what we saw on the Rift.
Do you think we may be needed to intervene?
We may be. There could be a bit of biffo after this one.
Yeah, there could be a lot of biffo. Oh, man.
He just dumpstered Shy.
Like, that is a straight up dumpster.
You want to use nicer words on the man's birthday, but...
No, but sometimes, like if you pick up an apple, you're not going to call it a peach because it feels upset about being called an apple because it's an apple.
You want to call a dumpster a dumpster?
It's like when it's a dumpstering, it's a dumpstering.
Wow. I mean, he just got pounded super hard by Kane. There's nothing else to say. That was an outplay. I mean, the highlight reel also was pretty sick, so well-deserved MVP goes over to King.
Yeah. Whoa. And for an 18-year-old, man, got to be feeling very, very good. Starting to stack up those MVP points.
It was just great talking to one of the owners of the Ever8 team in the back, talking about how this player came, trialed for a month. They got to see him. They blooded him in the second round. Robin, he's a new addition to the lineup. And it's paying off. Whenever people take risks on untried players, when you don't recycle, as often is the way in LCK and around the world, it's giving players second, third, fourth chances. Khan can be the best case example of that, as he's gone on to be a big star on Longzhu, but Keen really is this fresh face. He really is new to competitive play on his first team. He's coming up and, sure, started slowly, but he plays the carries, and he plays them well.
And the Camille, his Camille flow just feels so beautiful to watch. That outplay underneath the turret against Shy was beautiful.
I mean, all the outplays.
This was just outstanding.
Knowing your limits on Camille, a champion with so much playmaking, is so important. This was the fight where he almost got the second kill after killing Trundle, turning onto the Talia in the bot lane, and then, well,
this is him winning the game.
The true damage was like 1,200 true damage.
Yeah, this is one hell of a move. Wait for it.
No, the first one was bigger.
First one was
he overkilled him with true damage.
Yeah, I actually thought that it was from a little bit higher of a chunk, but you're exactly right. Oh, man. It's just cool because Camille, when she first came out, she was disgusting. We saw her banned the whole time, didn't get to see a whole lot of her. And since then, she hasn't necessarily been this super highly contested pick.
They play Longzhu on Saturday against Khan. He blind picked the Camille and got that value. What will he blind pick against Khan? Because that's going to be a spicy one.
Oh, that's going to be hella spicy. But it's now time for an interview with the Ever8 winners, something that we don't get all that often, so let's throw it over to Joel for some translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview, and we are here with Ever8 winners living up to their name this time around because they get a 2-0 victory against the ROX Tigers, and we are here with today's MVPs, Septid and Keen, for the interview. Septid, isn't this your first interview this season? Yeah, I don't think I've even done it in spring. So now that you actually got the win, how do you feel? Yeah, I felt like, with the recent games and just dropping in form most of the time, it was really good that we got the win today. I'm sure you guys were feeling down most of the part, but the early parts of the season were looking very bright for you guys, but somehow you guys fell bottom. Yeah, I think a lot of the pressure did come my way personally because people were comparing me to Faker, and that already put a lot of pressure in my plays, and that's just something that I couldn't really overcome at that situation. So, I was trying to work it out and trying to recover back, from the downfall that we've had. Keen, it's your first time literally in this OGN Stadium and to be with us doing this interview. You seem pretty nervous about all of this. I'm so nervous that I'm sitting down right now doing this interview. And regardless of how nervous you are, your plays were pretty amazing today. I felt like, OGN was personally more comfortable for me playing it out today, so whatever that means, we'll have to find out. But we want to actually go back to the game. And we thought that the Aurelion Soul pick was very much a surprise for us in Game 1. But did you find that your color was a little bit different regarding those kind of picks? I felt like situationally, it didn't matter what kind of champion I picked there, so Aurelion Soul came to mind, and that's kind of what I went with. Yeah, I felt like those kind of picks are pretty good against the meta picks right now, so. And I think it's all dependent on the player of how well he can handle the champion. So that's really what makes a difference. And King, you're very famous for these aggressive champions like the Lucian on the top lane and all the other aggressive top lanes, but do you feel like you're more comfortable with the aggressive picks? Yeah, personally I like the aggressive picks more than the tanks, but I think I do have a better result usually with the aggressive than the tank champions that I can pick with. And we felt like you picking Jax into Shy was actually a surprise because he's been known as the master of that champion. Yeah, I just try to be comfortable, regardless of what situation I was in. I'll just try to be comfortable with the way I came into the match. And with King coming into the lineup, did you guys feel any changes within the team? Yeah, I feel like, with Maorang being a young player in our team, yeah, I think him having a younger player in the team, in addition to Maorang, gave us a lot of team morale. But I think like our team house has gotten a lot brighter, but yeah, I tried to be pretty friendly with all the teammates as soon as I came into the team house. And it feels like you guys are a lot more comfortable with each other. Yeah, I think we are. And we want to return to talking about the actual game. We want to talk about where the Aurelion Sol joined the fight in top lane, which is where the game quite literally changed for the better for Ever8 winners. Would you like to explain this situation? Yeah, I saw the fight break out and I just thought, I had to make my way up and I just try to walk up as fast as I can. So it was a situation where I, did what I was supposed to do, and the result-wise, it just turned out to be a good result for all of us. So as, at the middle of the fight, we kind of realized that we were going to win this team fight. And a lot of another interesting thing was in game 2, they went with a very significant part of the draft, which was picking up the Sejuani and the Brown combo. But how do you like that combo facing up against that? Yeah, I feel like those two creates a really strong chain of CCs that you have to be aware of. But we just thought we need to be patient about all of this, and our moment will come in the later parts of the game. And the interesting thing about ban pick phase in game 2 was also that you guys picked up the Jarvan and kind of flexed it, and we kind of had a momentum thinking that this Jarvan actually could have been flexed into the jungle. Yeah, if the situation had gone against our way, I was actually thinking of playing Jarvan in top lane. But in the end, you did go with the Camille instead of the Jarvan into top lane and really did spectacular on that champion. Yeah, I think I was really, I had a lot of peace of mind when I got the Camille, and I think that transitioned over to a good gameplay on my part. And in the early parts of the game, you guys had a chance that you guys could have lost the game. But how do you feel about that? Yeah, Camille's kind of weak in the early game and does get beat in the early stages. But once it gets a few items and builds on those attacking points, then you can just really go aggressive with those kind of champions. And we thought this was actually the decisive moment in the game. Yeah, I knew that I was going to win out the solo fight. That 1v1, I knew I was going to win this one out. And the opposite side, we knew that the Baron was going on, but actually the Talia joined the team fight. But yeah, he actually gave us a call that, I was going to handle these two while you guys hit the Baron. So we were a lot less worried hitting the Baron with him on the bot lane.
사실은 뭐 코르키라든지 다른 선택지도 있었는데 그 조합을 보고 오리아나를 좀
And you guys had an option to go with Corki or something like that, but you went with Oriana. Yeah, I did practice Corki during scrims, and it was definitely an option for us. But with composition-wise, I felt like the CC that Oriana could provide was more beneficial for us in the end. Was it your individual choice or was it the coaches? Yeah, it was the coaching staff telling me to pick Oriana up. And I personally feel that the most significant part of that game too was in the last scene. I don't know if they have a video ready for this. This is where it is. And this was actually could have gone either way. Yeah, I knew that if I did it right, I would finish the game, but it was definitely a close call where if I made one mistake, I'm sure it could have gone the other way. So it was a very risky play for my part. So did you guys feel near the end of this that you can finish off the game? I think because we're such a late game composition that we really felt a lot of confidence going our way in the late game. So finally ending this dreadful 10-game losing streak, you guys are now back on the winning form. And I'm sure you guys have a brand new mindset this time around with this result. Would you like to say anything? And we're up against the stronger teams with SKT and Longzhu on our schedule, and we want to just continue to do well and hopefully get good results from those games as well. And Keen, you have a lot of fans from the Ever8 side. You want to say anything to them? I know that our results aren't very satisfying, but we just always thank you for your support, and we will try much harder to always improve our team. And thank you very much. And that seems to be the end of the interview. Back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Great to finally hear from some Ever8 players after we haven't, due to the fact that it has been a relative streak for them to not be on the desk.
But with so many teams struggling, sure, BBQ moved up. ROX Tigers previously had moved up. Now Ever8 actually get off the table they were anchored at the bottom of, and we'll jump ahead of, surprisingly, MVP, who now will be your 10th place team. What a strange summer season it's been. We've had SKT in free fall. We've had MVP, you know, a top 4 team drop down all the way to 10th. Here will be the rankings.
You've got Jin now at 6th place instead of occupying one of those bottom 2 spots that the Jin organization have been in for quite some time.
You know what the weird thing is? They probably feel bad that they're not higher. That's how good a season
I feel bad that they're not
it's been for them, but suddenly Afrika is looking like a hard team to get past. SK Telecom will surely be able to at least stay in the top 5, right? Maybe they won't be able to get to 1, but they're very likely to improve from where they are to 5th or 4th place spot. SKT running the gauntlet will be a cool storyline anyway, so it feels like we're set up for an amazing final series. Still a couple of weeks away. Still do have more match days, so getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But Ever8 winners, again, a team that has struggled so much, 10 match losses in a row. Get away from that. We've got some hot games tomorrow, though, Atlas.
Yep, tomorrow is going to be pretty good, Papa Smithy. Longzhu Gaming versus SK Telecom T1 will be huge. We'll see whether SKT can bounce back against some very stiff opposition. And then Samsung Galaxy up against BBQ Olivers would have been thought as a game that could have been just pretty meh. You know, Samsung 2-0, but BBQ Olivers taking a game off of Freaka Freaks, looking like they're making improvements. This could be a hot one.
It's not a surprise if BBQ win at least one game in that series. They do look solid in a protect the hyper carry meta. Again, not going to be surprised if Samsung go 2-0, but a lot to like about BBQ, and also Ever8 winners will be in action. Tough opposition, like they mentioned, against Longzhu in Game 2 on Saturday.
Yeah, Game 1, Samsung versus MVP. We'll have to check their pulse as they come in tomorrow, but should be one where Samsung can take it pretty easily, just because MVP didn't look fantastic against KT earlier on today, but then, oh man, Sunday's games are going super hard, Pop Smithy. KT versus Afrika Freaks. I have no idea what will happen in that game at all. This is like the least consistency in a game of LCK that we can possibly get.
Name a champion that hasn't been picked this season.
I want to name a good one, Malphite.
Maybe it's Malphite time.
Not great, because we don't have Deathfire Grasp.
I bet
so, like,
Marin
what's the
could play
point?
Malphite.
I reckon
If you're a
Marin could
teleport
probably
guard,
play Malphite.
Malphite can initiate.
If there was a champion that hadn't been picked that you'd want played very, very quickly, what would it be?
Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger?
In the
I'll go with.
jungle.
I'm going to change mine to Fiddlesticks. 'Cause that's way more fun. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for us tonight. 2-0-2-0. We'll see you tomorrow.